Well, hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of GNPI Up Close. You know, we've had lots of talk about what does happen in a regional center and among your teams, Greg. Right. And so we're going to talk today about that with you. And last month, we had a great visit with some wonderful people down in Mexico. And today we're going to have another great visit as well. So meet my great assistant here, Greg. Greg Fish. Glad to be with you. And our great technical operator over there, Alexa. Alexa, thank you. Say hi to everybody, right? And
yes,
so
it's so great to be able to be up close and personal with the people who make GNPI special.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so we encourage you, if you're watching this live, send us your comments, your questions. Once our guest is on with us, you can ask them a question. So Alexa will feed those questions to us when they come in, or just say hi. You might get a shout out on the show. You know, we're live. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
And so today's guest, if I can introduce him.
Please do.
Is Habacuc Diaz. And let me just tell you a little bit about him before we go live with him. He is from Santiago, Chile, where it just so happens I was born and raised in Santiago, Chile.
No way.
Yeah, and I went to the school where Habacuc's wife is now a principal. And so I've been down there with them. I've been to their church, and they're just great, wonderful people. Mike, you want to tell about the connection to GNPI?
Sure, as well. But I do wonder, Greg, if there are some maybe things you've etched on some of the desks that they could find out or anything of your days there.
No? I was a good student.
Oh, sure.
I was a rule follower.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Okay. Well, yes, when we talk about GNPI and up close, we've got regional centers and they're brick and mortar. But, you know, Greg, some years ago, we started what we call nomad teams. And these are a little bit more lean and mean video SWAT teams, grassroots video production teams, as we say. And so, as you said, our guest today, Habacuc, is involved in one of those teams there in Chile. And so we're going to just hear from his perspective about life, the family, and what their particular team does in that very important city, Santiago, and country of Chile. And so, Habacuc, welcome.
Hola, amigo.
Hey, guys. Hola, Greg.
Hey, I like the hairdo.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
It's my quarantine style, you know, rocking it over here.
Yeah, and the glasses thing, you look very professorial there.
Yeah, well, that's the idea, you know.
He didn't compliment me about my hair.
Oh, well, and definitely don't go with mine because, well, we won't go there as well. Habacuc, tell us, you know, kind of up close a little bit of just, man, how is life in Santiago and in Chile these days? You know, we have the pandemic, you have the pandemic. How are you coping with that? But man, tell us, there's some other things you're dealing with as well.
Yeah, well, so pandemic has been pretty interesting, you know. So we went into the pandemic right after a very big political and social turmoil time that started in October of last year. A huge uproar of, you know, social justice and all kinds of stuff, and that paralyzed our city to the point that we weren't able to do church services. So that was one of the biggest things that we experienced. Then after that, you know, pandemic started and we went into a strict quarantine. The government set up some rules where no one could go out in the streets, and if you went out, it was only to get food with a government issue permit that was checked at the stores. And there was a curfew, military curfew established at 10 o'clock every night. No one can be out. And yeah, very, very rigorous. And the fear and panic just started to be super evident and very, very noticeable pretty much everywhere in the whole city. And that's what we lived for about 5 years straight, 5 months straight through this year.
Well, it is not fun to be in a pandemic, Greg, and it's not more fun to be having the quarantine elements of having then also some government issues of constitutions and just, man, I can't imagine, Habacuc, how it's taken away the joy of living. Particularly Chileans, I always think of people who love happiness and love people and love joy, and all this has really, really stopped them from doing that. Well, I want to invite our viewers to just see a little of the work and the messaging. Is that all right? With what Habacuc and his family and team are doing. Let's just take a look at this little clip.
Queremos animarlos a que puedan disfrutar este domingo, que puedan disfrutar en familia o allí donde están.
Voy a ver la victoria, voy a ver la victoria. Quebranta mi corazón, quebranta mi vida.
Nada nos puede separar.
Los invito a partir el pan.
That's awesome, Habacuc. Great job with what you're doing. Can you talk through some of the strategies, and then in what ways have you seen church and the way you do church change through this time? And some of the things we saw in the video there, can you elaborate and explain?
Yeah, from the beginning, we realized how we needed to come up with a simple strategy that would kind of represent the nature of our church and kind of our goals. Our leadership team, our elders, and our lead pastor had the desire to be an encouragement during these times, but also we wanted to mobilize the church. We thought that this type of time, this type of need, was a really good opportunity for a church to do what the church is supposed to do, which is to shine in the darkness. So we encourage every member that had a phone and some time to help us. So we asked everyone to participate, unlike never before, to be part of the services, to be part of the prayer teams. We organize Zoom meetings to do prayer during the week, and that way we kept connected and maintained that sense of community even through this time where we weren't able to meet at all. We weren't not able to leave our houses. So that was a little bit of what we did, and of course we didn't intend to replicate the exact Sunday morning experience, but we wanted to create something that was natural and represented our values and our goals as a church and Christian community.
Yeah, I love Greg and Habacuc, the organic feel and the family feel. And boy, I sure wish I could play a guitar and sing like some of these guys do. But Habacuc, in America here, we may not be as aware of WhatsApp, but it's just an SMS or texting service. And of course, you're doing that and then getting people aware that are using WhatsApp and sharing it on their phones personally. It's on Google Drive and it's going out. And what grew out is just, as we understand it, of something just organic and for your own church has really gotten a followership, Greg. I mean, we're talking like 9,000 subscribers to this. Habacuc, tell us, how did this grow and what other areas of the city of Santiago and the country of Chile and maybe even beyond that you've seen God take your worship and take your ministry?
Yeah, I think something that we learned through our training with Nomad a few years back is that we always wanted to point in a direction. We were creating media that was timeless, things that could be used in many ways and in many forms. So something that we started doing was to create media content that could be used by the local church to do and to further their work of evangelism. So one of the things that we did is that we created a lot of music, a lot of worship music, and we made it available for churches to use. And because of the pandemic and because of the quarantine and not being able to meet, many churches from different South American countries and even Hispanic churches in the States contacted us, asking us to use this worship videos to kind of paste them into their online gatherings. And of course, it was what we've been preparing for all this time. We also had communion meditations. We put together a 30-day prayer program where we send scripture meditation to people. And the thing about WhatsApp is that we realized that not everyone uses all the platforms. Some older folks didn't have Facebook access or an account. Some others never got into YouTube. But pretty much everyone in our context was using this WhatsApp. So we created our content in a format that could be shared through WhatsApp easily, which is very important. Some of it was just audio, some of it was just images, some of it was just links, but we used it daily through this time to stay communicated and make all these things available to as many people as possible. So that was a little bit in what we did and what we continue doing. Something that we wanted to is for everyone to have access to good quality music and good quality materials so that they can put together a great service. And that's something that has been in our hearts from the beginning, to be facilitators of global evangelism.
Someone's asking, was that challenging for your team? And I know from your conversations with us that one of the challenges is you having to temper your own expectations of trying to make everything cinematic, because you have that ability to make some very cinematic videos, but with Sunday coming every Sunday right around the corner, you've had to limit yourself in that regard. Plus you're getting involvement from other church members who are just filming with their phones, so that obviously can't be the best quality, but it's about content over quality. Can you speak to that and some of those challenges?
And being timely too. I mean, it's got to be right there, relevant, right?
Yeah, of course, there is a number of challenges. And like you're saying, a little bit of the challenge was to come up with something that we were able to, like you say, to produce quickly in a timely manner, in a way that we could actually share with as many people as possible in our region. I have a conversation with somebody in Argentina. I have people in Paraguay. I got many people in Peru, and they're saying, we are using some of this, we want to use some of these songs, but there is some copyright restrictions and our feeds are getting cut out. And so there is a lot of challenge that we had to look into what format and what kind of things were helpful to the churches, not only what we get able to produce. And I think something, like you said, we love the cinematic style of storytelling, but within what we were trying to do, we had to, say, we are going to come up with a more simple way of storytelling, but still we are telling, the greatest story that was ever told. And that content is what matters and what we want to see people sharing and people listening. So, but I think a lot of the challenges had to do with just the different ways of coming with content that was relevant and it was useful for a number of and a great variety of people.
And so, you know, you mentioned that it's not just being used locally there, Habacuc, but, you know, it's been used all the way back into the States. And, you know, Greg and Habacuc, I love that in this era of technology, there's this cross-pollination of today, the church in Chile can serve people speaking Spanish in America, and tomorrow maybe those in America can serve the people in Chile. I love that about the body of Christ and about technology as well. And you're obviously meeting a need there in the quality and the timeliness that you're doing. So that is just, would you have ever thought that would have happened to you in your family, in your team?
No, absolutely not. You know, one of the songs that we used was a worship song that we did, and we shot this about 3 years ago. And people keep asking, hey, we love this song, can we use this song? You know, can we do it and be part of our services? And I was like, absolutely, you know, take it, use it. And that song has about 700,000 views on the YouTube channel. So it's pretty awesome.
I can't wait for you guys to be able to go back out and be able to film in nature. Like one of my favorite videos that you did that we can maybe post later is that one that you did with some friends at the beach, and that was just great. But I know there have been protests, there's more crime, that you said you don't even want to go outside with your cell phone because you might get robbed. One of our last questions is, we're running out of time. How is your family in all of this? You know, how are you guys doing?
We are so thankful. God has been awesome. We have seen His provision so greatly during this time. I just can't thank so many people that's been praying for us. We have a wonderful support team in the States that has been with us for a number of years. There is people from churches like South Lansing Christian Church that has been just continuously praying for us, caring for our kids. Something that's been awesome is that our kids have been able to even participate in their youth group, since they have been, you know, doing some online work too. But times like this have been so helpful to us to realize just the kind of people that God had put at our side, people that we follow, people that have invested in our lives, and that in that sense it's been wonderful. We've been safe. We've been able to stay at home. No one in our family has been sick in our immediate family, but there has been definitely a sense of just overwhelming thankfulness in our hearts to see how God is just taking care of every need that we have. So I'm thankful for that.
We've had some comments, people offering prayers, you know, with your upcoming projects and all that. And so we would echo that and encourage everybody who's watching this to say a prayer for Habacuc and his family and the ministry in Chile and beyond. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And to remember that while we have elections in our mind, elections there in Santiago are going to be very soon and very important, Greg. And Habacuc, no, we're going to love you and pray for you and so forth. Tell us real quickly, one final thing. What's the next best project after COVID that you're looking forward to doing?
So we have two projects, and both of them are so excited for me because I'm working with one of my best friends. He's a youth pastor in Phoenix, Arizona. So one project, we call it Google God, and we looked at Google's most often questions about God, what people want to know about God. And those questions are so surprising. So we're just giving a quick answer to those. And then the other thing, what we're doing is called Theology in 90 Seconds, which is, again, there's a lot of people that want to have a deeper understanding of some theological terms, and they go to YouTube. YouTube is the single fastest and largest research facility that we have available. So we want to put those answers in a biblical way, in a very simple way, so the especially younger generation can have access to it.
Well, so there you go. Google God, Greg, and for all of you, thank you for your questions. Habacuc, Diaz, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. Greetings to your lovely wife, your kids, your team, the church down there.
Dios te bendiga, Habacuc.
There you go. Like
Thank
he
you,
said.
Greg. Appreciate it.
And so thank you very much. And so for all of you that have tuned in today, it goes so fast, Greg.
It does.
You know, but we want to thank all of you for tuning in. And until next month, when we can have another special guest from one of our other teams around the world, and we'll let you be guessing on where that is. And so we just appreciate your prayers, appreciate your caring for us and caring for the people there with Habacuc and his family, down in Santiago, particularly with the elections coming up. So stay tuned until next month when we bring you another episode of GNPI Up Close. Hope you enjoyed it. We love you. Have a good rest of the day.